Yeah, let's get ready to rumble.
It's an excursion into the odd and into the very, very different.
Hey, it's me. How you doing, man?
I just got back from the convenience store. I had some, I got like a bagel, sausage, and egg sandwich. I wasn't going to eat the bagel part because I'm trying to avoid bread because of the potential for promoting constipation. My cat's crying for no reason other than being a spoiled brat. And I added garlic, and I'm still growing fresh kale outside.
Tony Caravan. You've been subjected to a highly sophisticated form of propaganda.
It's just what you need, and not what you don't.
And while I was up there, I bought some Boo Bucks. $1 Boo Bucks. Guaranteed waste of money. It's like giving your money free to the state for no known reason. I'll try some coffee. That is hot as hot can get. The title card today, things are all over the place, is the morning show I put back. And of course, you know, you could see the morning show mug back here. We still have it. You used to get the morning show on a shirt. It's the morning show with Tony C, of course. The morning show. Coffee perks you up. Like I said, I already went out for a walk. So while we're at it, we might as well like deal with the
Weather Watch forecast.
I have no idea why there's a delay on that. Apparently there's some, weather event happening in California. And I don't know if it's just propped up by the, the climate crises type of people or what. Or if it's just normal, this time of year, changing of the seasons, cold fronts, warm fronts. But anyway, they're supposedly going to get a lot of rain and snow over there. Well, let me tell you, we're getting a lot of rain. It's been raining here for the past week, too. It happens. It's called the planet Earth. It's got a weather system. It's got clouds around it. You ever see those pictures of it from space? Well, guess what? This is one of them. It was just taken about a couple of hours ago. This actually is what the former United States looks like from low Earth orbit satellite paid for by your U.S. tax dollars. This is CONUS viewpoint. Anyway, as you can see, like I say, if you took away the boundary lines, of the states that really don't exist, right? They're just drawn. The drawn border boundary lines. This would be an interesting, painting, right? I mean, look at all those. Think of those brush strokes, right? And the colors, and then the street lights from the various like concentration of people in the cities, are like little, splats of paint. Interesting, isn't it? So I don't know what to say other than it looks like there's like a little strip up West Virginia into Pennsylvania that's semi-clear that goes down into the devil went down to Georgia, and then that mysterious state next to Louisiana above the Florida Panhandle as if it's a frying pan. Of course, the Texas Panhandle's pretty much clear, as is most of western Texas. They used to call the girls darling down there. I don't know if they still do that. It's like, I traveled around. I was like, hey, darling. And, you could see that spin if you look to the upper left-hand corner of this satellite where part of the proof that the world is round, these flat earth idiots, is a live this was a satellite picture taken live, like literally like 3 hours ago. But yeah, there is some kind of circular thing. It's kind of making the news. They'll make a big stink about it and try to blame it on climate change. It has nothing to do with anything. That's what it's looking like out there in your neck of the woods. So wherever you are, you could pretty much tell. You kind of get a feel down in Mexico and Central America up to Newfoundland and Canada, up to the north. But here, I was just out in it. It's 55 degrees, so it's not that bad for this time of day. I would expect it to be 40 normally. I was ready to dress heavier. Today in my neighborhood, it's going to be get up to 70 degrees, so it's going to be interesting. It's sun and a chance of thunderstorms. And then the following week, it's just going to be cloudy. And I noticed some of my solar lights were not operating because it's been cloudy consistently. So I'm hoping that sun comes out long enough to recharge some of those solar batteries. Anyway, that's pretty much it, for the
Weather Watch forecast.
Quality, quantity, and variety.
ROCKFLUX.
Let's get this show on the road.
Okay, I'm all in for it. All right, now, we don't like to do news here because we're against news. And we don't like to do politics, and most of the news is politics. However, we're going to do Boo Bucks in a second, but before we do that, I found this thing, on it, came out. Now, I don't know if you'd be able to read. If you have a TV, you'll be able to read this. Okay. All right. This says Trump Media and Technology Group, Palm Beach, Florida. This is a press release, October 20th, 21. Trump Media and Technology Group and Digital World Acquisition Corporation, NASDAQ, DWAC, have entered into a definitive merger agreement providing for a business combination that will result in Trump Media and Technology Group becoming a publicly listed company, subject to regulatory and stockholder approval. The transaction values Trump Media and Technology Group at an initial enterprise value of $875 million with potential additional earnout of $825 million in additional shares at the valuation they are granted for a cumulative valuation of up to $1.7 billion, depending on performance of the stock price post-business combination. Trump Media and Technology Group's plan initially will be funded by DWAC's cash in trust of $293 million, assuming no redemptions. Trump Media and Technology Group's mission is to create a rival to the liberal media consortium and fight back against the big tech companies of Silicon Valley, which have used their unilateral power to silence opposing voices in America. All right. Let me read that again. So this TMTG, Trump Media and Technology Group's mission is to create a rival to the liberal media consortium and fight back against the big tech companies of Silicon Valley, which have used their unilateral power to silence opposing voices in America. So it has begun. Anyway, the title of this show is Wake Up and Smell the Coffee, since I have a coffee in my hand. We sell coffee mugs. The ROCKFLUX, as well as the morning show with Tony C. mugs. And I guess we'll eventually sell some coffee on our website. I'm working on that. Okay, so did I say good morning? No. Did I?
I would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey.
Hello. All right, Boo Bucks. Let's see if we won. It says top prizes of $2,500. Okay. And reveal 3 like amounts, win that amount. Reveal 2 like amounts and a boo and double symbol. Double that amount. Let's see if we won some money. All right. I'm scratching. I got a couple 200s, 1,000, free, Well, it looks like we want a free ticket. I'll show you that in a second as soon as I don't want to get this stuff all over the floor, so I have a garbage can under here. First ticket of the Boo Bucks. Looks like we got 3 frees. You know, they always put those like 2 200s and 2 400s to get you all excited. But we got a free ticket. Okay, free ticket. Next Boo Buck. And here we go. $20, 400, 400, 10, 100, $2, $2, free. So this, I almost thought we were probably going to win like $2 because sometimes you know $2 they're looser with, but no, look at it. Let me get it in focus. 20, 400, 400, 2, 110, 2, free. It's a loser. You just giving money to the state. Nobody really. Do you know anybody who wins on these things? I mean, I don't know. Years ago, I did. I remember a couple of guys when I used to hang out at the bars. I remember a guy coming over to me. Hey, look, man, I won $100 on a rub-off. Great. Buy us around. 10, free, 100. Let's take off the shit. Oh, shit. Profanity, but remember I told you we all should use more profanity in this world just to get even with them. This one, let's see, there's 2 100s. There's a 10, 2 10s, a 400, and a 400. That's a loser. All right, we only got 2 left. We can get them apart. Trying to separate them. Stuck together. You got to show the people what you're doing. It's a live show. 100, 2, free, 5, 1,000, 10, 20, 5, free. Shake off the waxy coating, whatever the hell it's made of. So it's, let's see. See it. I'll get a glare away from it. Looks to me like there's 2 5s, 2 frees, 100, a 10, a 20, and a 2, and a 5, and 2 5s. 1,000 on there too. Loser. Yeah, last one. 2,500. 40, 20, 4,000. Actually, we've already reached a point now where we can't win. Yeah. Get rid of the garbage. $2,500. First one makes it look good. Top 10 top prizes, $2,500. We didn't get it. $20, $40, 100, 1,000, 4, 200, and 1,000. So there's 2 1,000s. So spent $5 and all we ended up getting was a free ticket. 1 free ticket. That sucks. But it doesn't particularly suck because it's typical. The tooth was really bad last night. I had to take like a lot of Motrin. And put all kinds of stuff on it. And that's one, it's kind of semi-okay right now. Like it's not like blaring. It's just, it's there. I did some research and the oral surgeon that I had my last tooth, I had a tooth removed before. The guy I told you used to be a dentist. My dentist, like 25 years ago, but he decided to just become solely an oral surgeon. And now apparently he has 3 locations and he only does 2 days, like semi nearby me, Wednesdays and Fridays. So I'm debating whether to call and make an appointment. It's going to cost over $200 to have this done, have a tooth pulled. I mean, do you remember I don't know, it depends on, I don't know what the age of people are. Years ago, they used to just pull your tooth. Somebody in the family would pull your tooth out with the pliers. Or something weird really, or like the classic door trick. They tie a string around it and then they close the door. I mean, I know that was for like baby teeth for the most part, but adults used to do that too. Pull your tooth. I guess some people bled it. I'm not recommending doing it, but $200. I don't have $200 to spend. I mean, I'm $115 behind on my water and sewer bill, which is overpriced because that's about what it costs per month. Could you imagine water and sewer being $115 a month? We're getting totally ripped off. So anyway, I walked up the street, not just for the sake of exercising. You take these heavy-duty pain pills, and they could constipate you. So you want to have move that body, exercise those bowels, so you have regularity. Because there's nothing worse than being constipated. This is a brutally honest show. Let's face the facts. You've watched it before.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
It's my vlog. I was going to change webcast to, vlog. I still may. I could right now. But I like webcast because I originated. I was one of the original webcasters. Right? So it's like, it just makes more sense. But it's definitely not a podcast. Right? I mean, that thing. That's as bad as YouTube. Right? Tube. YouTube. Like, what is that about? YouTube. This is a tube, right? I mean, and there used to be a picture tube, but there are no picture tubes anymore. I'll tell you, be afraid, be very afraid. So Trump is planning that thing. Let's mess with this thing a little bit. Let me go to I have this under. No, better not. I was gonna isolate that one section of it. But it's like Trump Media and Technology Group's mission is to create a rival to the liberal media consortium and fight back against the big tech companies of Silicon Valley, which have used their unilateral power to silence opposing voices in America. That's like a really bold thing. I mean, that's going to be big. It's got to be big news. I don't watch television news, but it's got to be big news. It's got to be big news. So, like I said, here's our card. Our YouTube title card. The Morning Show. Coffee perks you up. This is like stuff years ago. Well, not even years. Well, yeah, it was years ago, but I mean often. It's harder now, but it used to be easier. You used to have better access to the National Archives and that kind of stuff. So, in effect, all of these things that have no copyright or, whatever, and that are just archived from ages ago. And so in some cases, not particularly this one necessarily, but in some cases, most were promotional, so they weren't really copyrighted in that sense. They were like PR stuff. I mean, not as an advertising logo-esque, or they were in some cases funded by, government type of things. It's like all that stuff under the Roosevelt area, the WPA or whatever, all that stuff, those works programs and all those groups that produced all these things, these arts, and things. publications, arts, theatrical things, and whatever. That was all funded by, that was an effort to put money into the economy and give people jobs, creative people jobs. So you don't see them doing anything for creative people anymore. They don't like creativity. Because creative people tend to... I'm pouring myself some more hot coffee if you're wondering what I'm doing. I'm sorry I don't have like this wide view. I mean, I could do that, but you're not really missing anything. You know, it would just be a wider view of nothing, the wall. Coffee's still hot though. So anyway, I walked up there. So yeah, I bought some. The whole reason was because of the tooth. I thought I would get something like eggs and something I could add garlic to. Chopped fresh garlic, which is like an antiviral, anti-inflammatory, a very strong one. And then I chopped up right in my front. I've got kale growing in the front to the side of my porch, hidden by like some morning glories and these flowers that are still blooming like mad. It's crazy. Until it gets to freezing, which I don't. I mean, let me double check again. Which I don't see necessarily happening for another week or so. That stuff's going to still happen. And kale, well, that's frost resistant. And it'll even come back next year in that spot, which is kind of cool. I think morning glories come back too. It's kind of really cool. In fact, today I have to go out on my front porch because I have planter boxes on the porch rails, and they're all filled with dead flowers. The flowers in those things didn't survive. There's something about the soil in that whole area down there that's very fertile, and I guess it gets sun, more so than other areas or something. I don't know. It's a nice place to grow. In fact, next year I'm going to plant more stuff. There's like a little spot on underneath my what's it called? The electric meter. The thing I was telling you about yesterday where the guy came in like a suit they'd used to go into Chernobyl or something. And now I'm starting to wonder, maybe it's the radiation coming off of that thing that's making these plants grow crazy. But I don't know. As long as it doesn't, I don't think it's not like it's you're doing damage to, if it's hurting the plant. If the plant will thrive on radiation, then more power to it. Yeah, pun intended. So the morning show, coffee perks you up. Yeah, it does. It does. So I walked up there because I wanted to get eggs. I thought eggs are soft on the mouth. That's something I didn't have to crunch. And I wasn't going to eat the bagel because if it would have been a bagel, but it was, it was heated and softened up. I think they just super nuke those things. Who knows when they made that thing. But I ate that and I added garlic and some kale to it. And what I'm hoping to do is just to keep from getting any kind of gum infection or anything like that. So the question is, do I go in debt somehow and get this tooth yanked? It's over on that side. Or is it going to go into remission like it did for like 6 months? I mean, the other day I was eating, some crunchy things. See, the problem is the other side, this is the bad side. Like I say, right now it's just like neutral. I'm conscious of it when I think about it, but if I were in a conversation with somebody, I'd almost be not conscious of it, and I'll probably forget about it, I think, unless it suddenly flares up. And drinking hot coffee isn't affecting it. But the thing is, the other side is just as bad. I think I showed you those little pieces of metal. Both, I lost on both. And I had went and I had bought this. You know, I have to keep doing this sometimes.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
Because sometimes after the fact, people don't understand what this is all about. This is just my show, okay? It's my show. And we get into issues and different things and stuff. And it's informative, it's funny, it's stupid. It's whatever it is. But right now, this is just Tony Caravan Live. My story. The beginnings are always like this a lot. So I forgot what I was talking about. So anyway, I just wanted something. Oh, I know what I said. I have these healthy pita chips. I mean, healthy in quotation marks, right? And this spinach and artichoke dip. So I put in this order and got stuff delivered to the house. And it's like shopping online at Aldi, right? And Aldi has some really neat stuff. And, you know, Aldi's all over the place, you know, if you're familiar with that. I mean, even in the UK, you know, people know what Aldi is. And so I'm looking, and they had some cool stuff. And I think, okay, oh yeah, spinach and artichoke dip and this like some kind of pita chips that, you know, were, you know, whatever, you know, you call them crisps in England. Kind of like crisps, but actually pita chips because they're like little squares. They're not exactly what we would call a cracker. They're, you know, they're just pita chips, kind of like not a potato chip, like a chip of a, I don't know, whatever. But they're slightly hard, but they're not like rock hard. And I have like some whole grain flax, you know, tortilla, you know, chip things. And a couple of things like that, you know. And I got a bag of apples. You know, I like apples in the morning. But you know all these things you bite into and chew. And it's like the things every part of your body, you know, you just don't, you know, I mean, of course, most people understand what the concept of a toothache and a bad tooth is. But I mean, it's like sometimes like if you get a little cut on like, you know, the tip of your finger or something, and you don't realize like how annoying and how much you use that particular finger in the course of the day, you know, doing every task, like just even making a meal or something. I mean, it's, you know, and so suddenly this thing is just become a major, but I mean, I would put this way beyond the idea of a cut on your finger. I mean, this is a serious thing. And I guess, and it could cause potential, you know, infection in your gums, which I've had more than one people, like, you know, stress. But it's like, I don't drive, number one. So I have to call this place. And then, of course, there's this thing. And they might require some kind of testing or something. Because the last time I went, which was a year ago, I had a tooth over here pulled. You know? Because I had, like I said, from childhood, there were like 4 teeth or so. I mean, I might as well dig this out for somebody. I have the guy's, like, phone number posted up. I have 2 of these rocks. Look at them. You see that? How big that is. You can see it. I have 2 of these. You know, let me put the 2 in my hand so in case you don't believe me. People don't believe half the stuff you say. You know. There's 2 of them. Look closely. See? One to the left, one to there. 2. And those are the ones that I'm aware of. Like, who knows if I swallowed? And what kind of metal is that? You know, it doesn't exactly look like silver, like you see these people with gold teeth or silver. You know, what was that guy putting in? You know, for all I know, it's like lead. So anyway, after whatever X how many years ago this was, decades and decades and decades, these things, I guess, reached the timeout period. Thought I heard a noise outside. And so, what am I supposed to do? So now I got a problem. These things fell out, metal fillings, and the teeth have subsequently, the cavity, because this guy must have dug in like really deep to put this metal in there to anchor it. See, nowadays with cavities, you know, they use this like stuff based on like the concept of barnacles. It's like this super, you know, I would say, I don't want to use the word adhesive, but how barnacles stick to the bottom of a boat or something. I mean, it just, so that they don't have to like drill out the entire tooth, you know, and almost cover it with metal for it to be secure, you see? And so in effect, they're destroying the tooth at the time. And I don't think this guy even needed to do it. I think he used to do this every time we went to the dentist. It would be like, we weren't one of those, you see my teeth, I made it all these years, right? With clean teeth, fairly straight and all that stuff. We weren't the type of family, we weren't eating junk food, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And it's like every time you went, this guy was doing this thing just so he could charge money, I think. We'll drill the back teeth out of these kids, you know. Or maybe he was some kind of like he was getting off on it, you know, because it was the drill and it was a painful experience. What was I saying yesterday? I don't know if things get me down and stuff, you know. I just don't feel like A, having to go in debt for this, B, it's going to be a literal nightmare, and C, I might not be able to even swing it if they say, well, you have to have the thing in your arm or you're going to need a test. Logistically, this guy's only in on Wednesdays and Fridays. If this thing, by the end of the show, flares up again, I'm going to be calling and trying to schedule something for Wednesday. If he says, oh, but you got to have a test, or if you got to come in first for an x-ray and then the following week we'll do it, I'll be like, come on, I don't have enough, you know, pain pills or anything to like be able to put it in. Last night I luckily had some leftover pain pills, but I only have a few of those left. Those are from like when I had my surgery. I mean, that's how bad the pain was. But right now, for some reason, and they're long since worn off. I mean, that was like, you know, I haven't taken a pill, you know, in well over like 13, 14 hours. Those things only last about 6 or 8 hours. So I don't know. I had a good night's sleep. And so I went for a walk, got some exercise, breathed in some fresh morning air, and ate some soft food for breakfast and added the garlic and kale to it. And took a couple of prunes just to make sure that eating the bread with the bagel sandwich, it was like a bagel and egg and sausage sandwich type of thing. The other one was like just a McMuffin type of thing. I don't know. It's some stuff they had in this heater thing at this convenience store. It's like I say, I would never even buy that stuff. But it's not like it's expensive. You know. They're like $1 something or, 99 cents. That sandwich is pretty cheap there. Sorry about this. I also realize I want to, other people do use microphones, but it's like so many of these shows, they have out there are so produced that it's like, it's sickening. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to have to make a decision on that sometime within the next couple of hours. Yeah. A tattoo, if you're still there. So, yeah, nothing worse than teeth. I can't look at the chat all the time because the chat's hidden behind this monitor screen. But yeah, that's the situation there. So I'm going to play it by ear, see how it goes. And I don't know when you tuned in on this, but I'll go back to this news thing. Let me get rid of this coffee for a second. This Trump media thing, this line here, it's worth reading again for new people. Trump Media and Technology Group's mission is to create a rival to the liberal media consortium and fight back against the big tech companies Silicon Valley, which have used their unilateral power to silence opposing voices in America. And so they're going to be publicly trading on the NASDAQ because he's tied in with like another group. That's the coup. That's the Trump thing. That's his plan. So I guess I don't think he's going to run for president, and I don't think he should because, the way they lambasted him the last time, it would be crazy. But so the question is, what are they going to do? It's called this media group. Are they going to take all of these groups together? There's all this activity outside my window right now. It's weird. I mean, usually there isn't. They take all these groups like these other, non-liberal cable groups, pull them all together and create this network. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I'm sure the media is going hog wild with it, and the Democrats in Congress, Nancy Pelosi's like having a conniption. It'll be interesting to see, what the outcome is. So, yeah. Well, CNN would have been a waste. So, I'm looking. So, this tooth is the one. Yeah, so anyway, I don't think Trump ever had any intentions of buying CNN. I think that was just like rumor. The idea is, is first of all, it's a publicly traded company, so it's a money maker. If it go, people, if he gets all the Trump people to buy stock, so the stock on that company, if it go, could go way up, so people make money. Number two is if they use that money to buy, I think they'd be more likely to buy up like Newsmax and OAN and, and some of those type of stations and make a group that already has, is already on cable channels. That's the idea. Once it's excuse me. Once you're, because getting on cable, like, cause I can't imagine, you can't imagine like DirecTV or DishNet, basically putting some Trump station on, because I mean, let's face it, this is like, the full court press was on him, for 4 years. And that's why I say it's useless to run for president because, A, I think they've got the whole thing fixed anyway. So, it would be an exercise in futility. But B, it would just be the same old thing, probably they just double down with their insanity. But the power of the media is a little more interesting, It's like, locals now, I noticed on my locals account, you can, even at the basic level, you could do 5 live webcasts per month at the basic level. And I guess if you go to a higher tier, you could do more. Because I noticed there's some people that are on live almost every day. Besides, the owner. But I've been thinking about if for any reason I get taken off of YouTube, I already have like a serious warning. I'm just going to go live there. And then Adam Curry has that podcast indexed Mastodon, which I'm on there now. And there are there are plenty of other places on alternatives besides the ones that most people think about, like the BitChutes and the Parlors and all that kind of crap. There's like some other interesting ones where people are going to that are a lot of the loons haven't taken over because they're member type of, places, And even though you could join locals without paying, it's like you don't get people on, on a specific, you don't get people on there. You don't get trolls because you can control that. So I guess in other words, to make the long story short, the empire's striking back right now type of thing, Not that they're the empire. I was just pouring the rest of my carafe into my mug. My official ROCKFLUX.com mug. But, we do have that. They're digging outside of my house again, the sewage people. This is like the 4th time. And they don't have the proper tools. I don't have, unfortunately, let me see if I have this thing. Well, that's the morning show. I'll show you what, I think it's still in my, I think I still have access to it. I forget what I called it though. Hang in there. Sewer repairs. Let's see. Yeah. Let me put this up. Make this bigger. See, this is like, I was trying to explain this once before. If you look real close, it's like there's not a curb. He's in an indentation that they dug out. Right? The curb is way beyond him. Is that gray sidewalk. That would be the curb. But that grayish, wet, shiny thing is like just, that, and he's in this gulch that they dug out. And they're out there right now digging. This was the other day. So we're in the direction he's flowing, he pretty much about 2 more feet up, it ended. But now they're back because they stopped. They only work like Tuesday through Thursday or something like that, or Monday through Thursday. So now they're back digging up to the right of him. But this is my front porch rail. So, And this is my sewer bill that is $115 to $120 some dollars a month for sewage. If I had the room, I'd dig my own septic tank, you know. But I'm not primitive enough to be one of these guys to do this composting toilet, you know. Plus, they probably have some legislation. This area is so corrupt. You know, see, that's the other thing is everything's so corrupt now. You know, the lunatics have not only taken over the asylum, but the bureaucrats got their tentacles in everything, right down to local levels and township levels. So it's like, it's insane. You know, you have no rights. You know, you have no rights.
At this point, there is no really authentic way for us to say who or what to look for and guard yourself against. Misshapen monsters. Reaction of law enforcement officials is one of complete bewilderment at this hour. So far, we have been unable to determine that any kind of organized investigation is yet underway. Police, sheriff's deputies, and emergency ambulances are literally deluged with calls for help. The scene can best be described as mayhem. Mayors of Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, and Miami, along with the governors of several eastern and midwestern states, have indicated the National Guard may be mobilized at any moment, but that has not happened as yet. The only advice our reporters have been able to get from official sources is for private citizens to stay in their homes behind locked doors.
Night of the Living Dead. It's Halloween season. I see there were a couple people on, but they like ran, you know.
He was such a nice boy.
You should have handled him more carefully.
Who?
Michael Myers.
Michael Myers?
Yeah, he was the guy that was after you.
In the Myers house? That little kid who killed his sister?
Yeah.
But he's in a hospital somewhere.
He escaped last night.
How do you know?
It's all over the radio. Television, too. It's on right now.
Why me?
Yeah, Halloween's less than a week away. Man, when I was a kid, we used to get bags and bags of candy. It was fun. So, yeah, I mean, that's crazy. But it's time for a new feature that we've been doing for the past 2 weeks, and that's like music. So this one people might not expect me to put up, but this album, Tears for Fears, Songs from the Big Chair. I mean, these guys are like kind of posers and stuff, and I wasn't really a fan of them when they first came out. But there were some songs by them that over the years that it had made their way into some playlists. And on this album is the album that has Everybody Wants to Rule the World is on there. And some of the other, you'll know some of the other songs on that. And it's an album worth revisiting. Like I say, if you subscribe to a music service, or if you have like, I have Echo Dot, you know, or like what I call the Apple now is putting out those citronella candles, which is a direct copy, you know, of the Echo Dot. You know, speaking of which, I still have it here. For someone that may not know what I'm talking about, where is the darn thing? I can never find it when I want to. Where is it? Come on. Oh, here it is. So let me just take this down. You know, that thing, right? Which actually, if I take this down. And so if you have one of these and you just say, hey, play such and such an album, you know, it'll play it. And on mine, it has a 1/8-inch output audio jack, so I could actually play it through my house system. But there's these speakers for the size of them. And there's one that's the size of like a hockey puck. It's pretty darn loud. But anyway, you know, it's, you know, I featured a lot of different bands. But, you know, this album is worth revisiting. And it's like I say, if you have a music service, just say, hey, you know, whoever your voice assistant is, play Tears for Fears, Songs from the Big Chair. I did it yesterday. And I was surprised, you know, that there was that there's some decent songs on that. And it's just the idea of do something different. Most people listen to the same music, or they listen to radio stations, and the radio stations are playing the same songs all the time. And it's just expand your mind, get into something different. And maybe somebody, you look at an album like this in the 80s and you say these two, posers or whatever, and you might be turned off. But in reality, when you listen to them as musicians and the songs they wrote, they were pretty good. So Tears for Fears, Songs from the Big Chair, today's featured album on Tony Caravan Live.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
Quality, quantity, and variety.
ROCKFLUX.
Let's get this show on the road.
Yeah, let's get back to it. So, yeah. So anyway, I find with now, the thing about music services is the idea of having access to everything. That's all. It's like I have so many playlists, and it's sorted all over all these various computers. And then I put them on the portable devices, and I go for a walk, and I got the earphones. But it's like next to my bed, I have one of the Echo Dots, the hockey puck Echo Dot. It's just like this round circular piece. And I listen to this liquid mind music. And I let that on to go to sleep. And that's like this spacey stuff. And I had the volume turned down real low. You could barely hear it. And I find that that helps me relax and helps me get to sleep. So it's there's no way I'm going to purchase and I have any of that stuff in my collection. I just don't. And so, and the fee, the way they work that now, these Echo Dot things, and I don't make any money on it. I could put a link to it, but I'd only make 30-cent commission or something. But the way it works is that, they want so much to get people to buy these things that they have these deals where you could pay. They only cost $30 some. Apple's charging $99 for theirs, the one that looks like a citronella candle. So that one of those bug candles. But the Echo Dot Amazon thing, those things are selling for $30 some, and they have deal where it's pay $34.99 or $7 a month for for a couple of months, and it's what the heck. And I use it because I have Amazon Prime, and so it puts a yellow light on when a package is delivered to my porch that I ordered from Amazon. You could say, "Where's my stuff?" and it'll tell you the progress of that. There's things you could say, "Hey, what's the weather outside?" It's a voice assistant, so. And the music thing just comes in, and you don't necessarily have to apply to the unlimited music service, because with Prime you get access to the basic music service. So in general, like I said, I'm not getting paid and I'm not selling these things, but it is a voice assistant. I just wish that they would be more AI. Than just, basically command response. I've talked about this before. Right. So anyway, that's the name of that thing. So I don't know. Originally what I was going to do with today's show, we're almost an hour into it, was I was going to actually write. I don't know if I told you yesterday I had this problem with Logic Pro being able to get the monitor out. So I was going to write another song, and I couldn't because it was just frustrating. And then I said maybe yesterday I would spend the time in doing it, but yesterday I had this tooth problem. Today it's not. So I'm debating. See, the moment I don't call is, halfway through the day I'll be in pain, and I wish I would have called and set up some kind of an appointment. But anyway, one of the ideas today was I was going to actually go through the process of writing this song on the air or live to show you the process. And the working title for this song is The Saline Solution. Right? The Saline Solution. And the concept is based on this idea that they're mixing like last month or maybe 3 weeks, I don't know how many weeks, several weeks ago, there was a government release saying that people could enter this country with multiple, from multiple sources, right? Combinations. And then there was something this past last week, where they started in saying, well, you could get a booster from anyone. And then, then there was this whole idea of people who had gotten the thing that were still getting the thing. Okay? And so I was using this Occam's razor idea that when you explore all other possible explanations for this illogical activity, pronouncements by the government, and the illogical, non-scientific, unscientific, results that are from this, it just points to one obvious thing just stands out in the foreground. And that is that it's a saline solution. Because you couldn't mix and match differently patented drugs, with various different effects, and one you only need one of, one you need two, and another. Do you see what I'm saying? And I'm like the only guy that I know of that's raised this issue, this flag. So I was thinking of writing a song about that called The Saline Solution, and maybe tying in the whole concept of it. And I was going to try just doing it live, put up a split screen or something and have like a word processing type of program and just start typing and coming up with some ideas and maybe even collaborating with some people and stuff. But, yeah. I'll tell you, man, Tattoo, you really can. You can tweet. I don't have the thing hooked up. I don't know how quickly I could hook that up. I should have you on the line. I don't know if I have that thing set up right to do that right now. I don't think I do. If I would have known you were going to be like up and on, I would have had you call in, but I don't have the wiring set up right now. I got to set that up. And the weird thing about it was I was talking about it yesterday and I was thinking about doing it, rewiring that thing, and I just didn't. So I will do that. I'm going to rewire it today. So sometime maybe later in the week or sometime we'll do that. Get you to call back in. So anyway, but no, I'm not going to write that thing on the air. So that was one of my ideas. And now that this nonsense is going on outside, I'm like, you got to be kidding me, And they're talking about Build Back America, and like, I say, I don't know if this microphone's not necessarily omnidirectional, but it's in my ears, so I don't know if it's just coming through the the headphone, or if it's coming through the mic into the headphones. But I might cut this show short today since I went for a walk and did that. And maybe I'll try to deal with some of the things I have to deal with and see. I have to contemplate what I'm going to do. So, but my biggest fear is I'm going to call those people. If I call them for this tooth thing, they're going to say, well, in case you didn't hear that.
Your papers, please.
If they say that, then I'm not getting it done anyway. So I wonder how many people just die of some kind of thing because, they don't have their papers or whatever. It's like there's a dentist that's walking distance from me who just doesn't take patients and wants you to go through some kind of crazy ass hoops. Like what? Somebody's in pain. And it's always cracked me up about dentistry before I end this show. Out of all the things that, and your mouth, very serious things, people die, from gum-related diseases, like seriously. And of all the things that you can go to an emergency room for, you can't go to an emergency room for tooth problems. I mean, I guess unless you were in a car accident and like 5 of your teeth are knocked out. I mean, it's a different story. So, that doesn't make any sense. It never made any sense to me. I mean, it's like it's a part of the body that's, is totally ignored by emergency medicine, ERs. It's like yesterday I was in like grueling pain and I'm taking these like extreme pain pills that I happen to have left over from an operation. Luckily, it was the only way I could like get to sleep. That's how, and you shouldn't even really take those things, and they're no good for your kidneys and liver either. And you can't keep taking them. So what if this guy says, oh, okay, come in, we'll have to do you could come in Wednesday, which means I would still have to wait a couple of days. And we'll do an x-ray, and then we'll set you up the following Wednesday for extraction or something like that. But you're going to have to get a test, and then I'd have to schedule a test. Or if or who knows what. Like the whole thing's a clusterfuck. And meanwhile, all day long on top of this, I've got to listen to drilling. These guys are sawing the street open for no known reason. And they're talking about, I mean, does it, only us, those of us who have driven across the country, and I have driven across the country many times, and I've driven up and down, I've driven from the north, I've been up, from up Lake Michigan, like Northwestern University down to New Orleans. I've lived in the Gulf Coast of Florida, and I've gone, I've been up into New England, and then I've been from, lived in New York, Jersey, and on the East Coast, and I've been all the way over to the West Coast. This is a big country. And so when they talk about infrastructure repair, and I'm watching this like major contracting company, this is like a major contracting company. I can't stress that enough. Complete with the logos. I'm not going to give the name of it out, but I should. But they have unbelievable equipment, right? They've got this staging area where they've got set up with their trailers, and they've got their own fuel supplies set up, and these tool trailers, and every piece of heavy equipment you could imagine. And they've been at this for 2 years now on one street that I know of. Like, I'm assuming that they might be in other parts of the town, but I don't know. And I've seen them dig up the same spot 3 or 4 times. And now they're right in front of my house again. And my house is shaking. And it's shaking so much, it has like the last time, not this time, the last time, that when I had my furnace cleaned, I get that once a year, like a couple of weeks ago. I don't go down to my basement that often. There's no reason to. I don't store anything down there. It's like where I have my hot water heater and my gas heater. That's it. I have no reason to go down there. So like a couple times a year, I go down there. I turn the water off to the hose, in the wintertime so the water line doesn't freeze. And then when the guy comes to clean out my winterize, clean my gas furnace, I'll go down while he's down there and, whatever. And I noticed there's this puddle of water on the floor, right? And hear the shaking, and I talked to the guy the guy who cleans the furnace is from a plumbing company. That's what they do, plumbing and heating supply, or whatever. And yeah, he said, yeah, that pipe was shaken. I was probably shaken by these guys. And it was an old pipe, because this is like a 100-year-old house. So he had to replace the whole piece. And it cost me, the overall thing between parts and labor and stuff like that. It was like $100 some bucks, which might not sound like a lot of money, but it was caused by them, by these guys outside, because this is a street and they're treating it as if they're doing highway repair. They're like digging down. They're like trying to dig and open this street to access this. They don't have the right tools. They're not cognizant of anyway. So I've got to put up with that. Upstairs I have a chair, where I watch these videos playbacks, and my chair will shake. So you could imagine what's happening to the pipes, and who knows what's happening to like old wiring in the walls and stuff like that, man. And I have no recourse. I have nothing I can do, because these authorities aren't really even tied into the government, but they have like this carte blanche to do whatever they want to. It's like these, people who are issuing this thing. They're totally protected. You can't sue them if you have some problem. They've got immunity, it's called. So it's like I had to dish out $100 last month. That's why I'm behind on my water and sewer. So I'm actually behind on my water and sewer bill by $100 some bucks, because it cost me $100 some bucks to pay for damage that the water and sewer authorities contractors caused. Do you see the absurdity of that? And I have no recourse. What, hire a lawyer? Well, the lawyer would cost, more than the amount of money I'm out. And they know all that. And they've got that, like all that figured out. They go, well, nobody's going to, even if we cause $300 worth of damage and stuff like that, it's going to cost you $300 or $500 to get a lawyer to do this. And, of course, they're big contracting firms, so they have a team of lawyers and some big city law firm. They would just delay it, and you would end up paying $1,000 in legal fees and still probably lose on some technicality where they'd say, well, the city has given us immunity for that stuff, or we're like immunity so much, but whatever the word would be. So it's pretty crazy, man. I don't know. It's frustrating in that regard, and there's not much you can do. So I'm just, I'm going to cut this show a little bit short today for the reason that there's this sound outside. You probably can't hear it because this is a directional microphone. The sound's that way, but it's in my ears, and it's like a buzzing, drilling, sawing of the concrete streets. It's just like it's like taking away my focus, and then I have to deal with this tooth thing. So anyway, thanks for tuning in.
Good morning.
And as always, stop by my website, visit my locals.com site, TonyCaravanLive.locals.com. And I do have that new book out, Then What, which the print version's available on Amazon. It's only $9.95. Cold weather's coming up, great solar stuff, you know. Power's going to go out one way or another, whether it's ice on, you know, a tree falls down over some power lines, ice on the power lines, or whatever the case may be, a solar something or other. And then, of course, Freedom is Fun T-shirts. You don't know what you don't know and all that stuff. Visit rockflux.com or my local site. And I'll talk to you tomorrow, and you'll know all the news, the latest, what I decided.